Good morning. It is May the 3rd. We're one day out of Star Wars Day. Kick my Berks off here, start our grounding process. So, some updates for you. I'm going to make these weekly series because I want to eliminate the boring crap. I want to eliminate the just kind of like mundane training pieces. I'm still going to do some talking like this just to kind of talk through, approach what we're doing on one specific day and why we're doing it. It's just going to be easier to edit. It's going to eliminate the garbage. And I think it's going to be more enjoyable for you guys as well. Maybe it's a little ASMR that you can throw on before you go to put your head on the pillow. Maybe it's something that you can watch while you're eating breakfast or lunch or dinner, or lunch, dinner, snack, or post-dinner snack or dessert. It's really up to you. Either way, that is update number 1. 2, I'm going to be able to add some overlays because I figured out my storage issue on my computer. So that's really good. What else? It's looking like my men's league game is going to get canceled on Sunday. Good and bad. Bad because I want to play. Good because I think it's going to allow for us to do a max intent velo day on either Monday or Tuesday. But body weight this morning was 190.2. Strength is pretty good. Did not hit 340 for 2 sets of 3 on back squat yesterday. I'll clip that as well. I don't know if I got any clips of that. I'll have to check. But been hitting a lot of, on the upper days, more of the posterior shoulder stuff. So like upward scapular movement with resistance pulling me towards the front side, excuse me. So that is pretty much it. It's kind of cold, it's not cold, but just like breezy, windy, kind of cool today. So hopefully the camera doesn't overheat, but I'm not going to record the 15 minutes of barefoot jogging that I'm going to be doing with podcast and headphones. I might record some of the wall ball. Did not bring my throw counter today. It's the one downfall of that. I need to be very consistent with keeping that in my bag, making sure I can count my throws. But goals for today, mobilize, condicize, and then exercise the arm and throw a little bit off the wall. Probably make 80 to 100 light intent throws, really trying to build volume on the lower intent days. The reason for that is just because I'm going to be having to make, 80 to 100 pitches once a week from now on. So I need to make sure the volume that I'm placing on the weekly throwing schedule is starting to increase, just so my arm gets acclimated to the workload. I'll talk about what I'm going to do from like a globular perspective, and I love that word. I love the word globular. Even if I'm not using it in the correct context, I still love using it. So I'm going to keep using it. So I think the second piece of this video, just because we're not going to be doing any hard training for the next 3 days or so, Sunday would be like a high intent day technically, if it ends up happening. If not, we might test that day, we might test Monday, we'll see. So we'll see when we flex to there. But the next piece of this video is going to be a walkthrough on what the goal is to go from where I'm at now to 95 off the mound. And I think that the true baseline for where I'm going to be at is going to be that early pen next week. And so we're sitting at about 90 right now. If I had to, give or take 2 miles an hour off the mound. And so that means we got 5 miles an hour to go. But we're gonna go to the whiteboard for that, and I'm gonna walk you through lifting, nutrition, throwing, schedule, sleep, mobility, everything, okay? And so I'm gonna outline that plan. And so it's gonna be useful for me to just kind of take a look at everything like on a board, because I haven't truly done that. I've had the plan outlined, but I haven't taken, a total look at everything together. and it'll be useful for you just to see how a high-level training plan is really put together and how I'm going to structure it. So with that being said, let's get some grounded conditioning in, and then maybe we'll show you some meals today. To be determined. So barefoot jogging, huh? Yeah, I got it from Kevin Foster. Jab Anatomy. Well, I'll save my talking for when I get back. Gonna do a couple laps here. Nice and easy. So yeah, barefoot, ball of foot dominant jogging keeps you light, keeps you athletic, develops the tap of that foot, helps the athleticism. Additionally, just a little good warm-up, good cardio stimmy, you know? Additional benefits are that you get outside under the sun and you're grounding, you're connecting with the earth, you're eliminating any of the stress that comes from confinement under artificial lighting, with all of the stressors externally hitting you, notifications, homework, text messages, the thousands of girls that are texting you because you've been barefoot jogging and now you look sweet, or you're mobile, you're lifting weights, you're eating your eggs and grass-fed ground beef, whatever it is. So you got to connect with the earth. You got to get springy on the balls of those feet and make sure that you can bounce around and be voracious in your pursuit of your mission. It's all tied together, man. Like, I'm sweating now and I can take my jacket off. We can get some rays on the skin here. So now what I want to do is take you through a little pre-throw mobility, because it's a hell of a lot easier to do when you don't have a dog breathing down your throat. So, just gonna start over the top and back. Now with this, try and keep the ribs down, but also go through a few reps where you flare the rib cage a little bit. And really try and create that extension. You might notice some grindy, some crackiness with the shoulders. That's perfectly fine. You're just working through the range here. But then again, down. If you need more resistance, hands go closer. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, less, spread them out. All right, that's good enough. Now, go around the world. This one is my favorite. So you feel this in the lats, feel it in the chest. And same thing applies for this one. You can focus on keeping the trunk and the ribs locked in and getting the same stimulus. Now, I will say that you definitely get more lat when you incorporate that movement from the trunk. So like, for example, here, I'm getting so much more lat on this left side and then on this right side here. But I'll do about 6 of those and then switch to the other side and go the other way. Is there any kind of special reason to go both ways? No. You just want to feel out both sides, you know? All right, the next one that I always go to is gonna be like a side split like this. You're right here, And then I'll bring the band over top, go straight down. Just kind of test that, go to the left. Try and lengthen out the hammies, the adductors here. Play with foot position as well. You can see I'm kind of moving this foot, this ankle. So this is more adductor, this is more hamstring. So eversion, adductor, inversion, hamstring on both sides. Right here, adductor, hamstring, adductor, hamstring. There. Get some more adductor there. Sweet. Now, go through a little lunge series, still keeping that extended position with the band. Now, what I will say is that I'm not going to be able to do everything here, just because there's some rocks and some prickers and stuff on the ground. But the next one's going to be like a lunge, ATG lunge with a reach. So right here. And you can go through reps if you want with this. And there, I'm just trying to feel that in the top part of the thigh, the quad, the hip flexor. Again, right here. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's some other stuff that you can do on the ground, which again, I'll show you. Like some scorpion-based stuff, some rotational stuff. But for the most part, that's everything that you do with the band. Game canceled. Surprisingly to my delight. The reason is because now we're going to do a velo day tomorrow, Monday, the 6th. So while everyone is out enjoying their Cinco de Mayo beverages and tacos and chips, I am going to be ripping baseballs. The other note is that I was 187.2 this morning. So that's a new body weight low over the past 10 years. Today's gonna be a fun day to celebrate for a couple reasons. One, because I probably need to just get some carbs in my system to prep for the throwing tomorrow and the lift, and just kind of refeed the body, let it know like, hey, we got plenty of food here. We're not in survival mode. And two, just to celebrate the accomplishment of getting down to that body weight and feeling peeled and feeling good as well. So I'm going to show you some of the meals. Maybe the plan was to do pizza, but considering it is Cinco de Mayo, maybe like some nachos, maybe like a taco bowl of sorts. I don't know. But we're going to do some work, go grab some coffee as well. And then, yeah, we're not going to get crazy with it because we don't want to be like lethargic tomorrow and feel like crap. Probably going to cut meals off at like 3 to give myself enough time to digest, maybe 4. But we're gonna have some fun. So maybe I'll at least show you the meals, and then I think the next part of this video is probably going to be where I walk through the plan moving forward. Or I'll save that for after the velo day tomorrow. But we're going to be indoors, so I'm going to be able to use the good camera here, which is exciting. Let's go. Testing the lighting, testing the lighting, testing the lighting. Good morning. It is May 6th, 9:16 a.m. We woke up at 193 pounds this morning because We ate a little bit of food yesterday. We ate a little bit of food, which is a big gap. It's 6-pound gain over the course of one day. So that'll level out after today, get back to a normal diet. But what we're gonna do, as promised, is outline the entire plan for how I'm gonna get to 95. So we're going to stop this and put a bunch of words on this board, and then we'll get right back to you.
I was going to make this a part, like a whiteboard session to kind of show you everything, but the lighting was terrible. I'll give you an example of that as well. I'll cut that in here. But we'll go through a little slideshow so I can explain everything. And if you can hear the fucking people paving the parking lot at my complex right now, I mean, it's like freshly paved, and they're repaving it. I don't know. Is this where my rent money is going? This is why we need to buy. This is why we need to establish equity. Anyway, so to overview, we'll go through the strength program. We will go through mobility, throwing, nutrition, and then any extra considerations here. So as far as the strength training is concerned, pretty cut and dry. Just get the stimulus. You know, I'm not winning any powerlifting awards. Frankly, I don't need to add a ton of strength, and I don't think that is going to be what gets me over the line here. I'm already pretty darn strong, not to toot my own horn. It's just not a limiting factor for me. You know, I don't go into the weight room and struggle to really do anything, especially at the current body weight. So we're getting in there 4 days a week, just getting a stimulus, you know, trying to add progressive overload to things as well, because we are trying to grow the arms a little bit, the shoulders, the traps, just making sure that those are taken care of from more of a stress standpoint as it relates to throwing, but also just grow them for hypertrophic reasons. I guess. Yeah. Anyway. But it's going to be a 2-day upper lower split, 2 upper days, 2 lower days, 2 times a week conditioning. That's just going to be long form cardio. And then sprints on the lower days as well, as you'll see. We've got curtsy squats, which is going to be more of a hip extension movement, kind of like a, you know, sagittal plane kind of lunge variation, I guess you could say. And then we've got back squats on the second day. Really excited about those. Pistol squats. We're actually doing those today. So today is Friday. We had a high intent day yesterday. One thing that I switched that I'm starting to do is on high intent throwing days, I'm doing an upper body lift. So I'm really trying to layer the stressors. And so far, I've been feeling pretty good about it. I used to think that it was too much on the upper body to do those in the same day, but I'm actually starting to think that it's beneficial. So that's what we're going to roll with from the start. And then we've got upright row, upright bench variations. You know, some of these are going to change as far as the upper body stuff, and I'll make sure that I keep you guys posted in the videos with what we're switching. But for example, like for day 1 of the upper, we're doing more like posterior scap, posterior shoulder work, in the form of like some eyes wise tees, and just like some pulling back variations, things that are just going to work on more of the back of the shoulder. Because with a lot of like the forward pressing variations, we're already getting a lot of that stimulus on the front of the shoulder. The scap's kind of moving into protraction. We're trying to get that retraction strength as well, in the form of, you know, different things that aren't directly related to rowing per se, because the lats are really strong. We just need to work on like the mid back, the mid trap, things like that. And then hamstring strength is going to be a big component as well, just because with the amount of sprinting that we're doing, the amount of speed work that we're doing, need to take care of those. And then really just trying to work on like mobilization of the hips, but also just like strength through deeper ranges. And that's pretty much it. And then, you know, 30 minutes of cardio twice a week at least. Mobility, we're doing that every single day. In the mornings, we're doing more of like a wake up kind of like movement flow. I can link some clips on how I do that. I actually clipped that in the very first vlog, the training vlog. It was like kind of like the mobility routine I did at the start. Now I've shifted to more of like a targeted, loaded kind of corrective routine right after the workout, already warm. And then right before bed, doing like a nightly shakeout, just very similar to what I was doing in the morning. Just kind of like a general kind of wind down parasympathetic type deal. Influences for that Jav Anatomy, Noah Ryan, and then Medicine Through Movement as well. His mobility plan has been awesome. All three of them have really good mobility plans. Well, Javelin Anatomy and Medicine Through Movement, very similar. A lot of like spinal movements. Noah Ryan's more just like kind of mobility flows. And then the big emphasis for myself is going to be on the shoulders, the rib cage, hip extension, hip rotation, hamstrings, and the side split and forward split postures as well. Throwing 4 to 5 times a week, 2 high intent days, 2 low to moderate intent days. 1 optional low day that's going to usually be before a high intent day. So whether it's a Sunday high volume day or a Thursday high intent day, we're usually going to play wall ball for those just because I enjoy it. It gets you moving a little bit, gets you sweating, not super high intent, just focused on being loose, being free. As I mentioned, one of those is going to be a high volume day. That's usually Sundays because I'll be pitching. The other day is like a pull down day. And I won't get on the mound as far as like trying to test mound velocity until pull downs are 98 plus. So day I hit 98, then we'll get on the mound. That'll be like our first mound blending day. And then we'll maintain doing pull downs week by week, but they will just serve as a prerequisite stimulus for getting on the mound and then testing mound velocity. And we're trying to get outside as much as possible. That's what AMAP means. You like that, don't you? Calories, because obviously body weight's a big piece of this, right? We're trying to be 185. And I haven't been 185 since my senior year of high school. So that's 10 years. Holy shit, I'm old. But we've got, for our weekly allotment, 14,245 calories. Some days are going to be higher calorie than others. For example, yesterday I consumed like 1,600 calories, which seems low, but I'm feeling okay. I'm just kind of a little irritated. And then other days, like, weekends, like, for example, on Sunday, I know for a fact I'm going to have a steak and maybe some ice cream. So that's probably going to be like a 2,500, 3,000 day. But if I can keep the weekly allotment at that 4,245 range, then I'll continue to go down. And the goal is to lose about a pound a week. So last week, the weekly average was about 189. The goal this week is to have the weekly average be at about 188, 187, 186. Should put me there by Memorial Day. Look nice and good when I go to the beach for a couple days, hopefully. We're currently cycling carnivore. So literally all my meals are just beef, eggs, and then butter or coconut oil. And I'm doing that for 3 days to clean up some digestive stuff, some skin symptoms. Today is the 10th, and I did that for yesterday. So that's the 9th, the 10th. I'm going to do that for tomorrow. And the 12th. So really it's 4 days because I'm going to do it Sunday as well. And that's just to kind of clean some things up, just to kind of like, mental clarity. I don't plan on doing that long term just because carbohydrates are super beneficial for athletic performance. And I don't plan on taking them out long term. And I need them to recover. I like carbs. I enjoy them a lot. I think really it's also about figuring out which carb sources I respond best to. So I really like honey, really like potatoes as well. But I just want to make sure that I'm like slowly adding things back in. I'm not just like hitting my body with like 10 different carb sources that has to kind of figure out and digest and all those sorts of things. So never truly cycled carnivore before. I wanted to really try it just to see how my body responded. And so this is going to be a shortened kind of period to see how my body responds in the short term. And then from there, I can start to add some things back in. So really just kind of like front end elimination, back end addition. I'm giving myself a couple of cups of coffee per day, 2 to 3. I'm sipping on a little cold brew right now. And then we have also got our electrolytes with our water right here. So just really as much as I want as far as the water with electrolytes, as much as I feel as though I need. In the mornings before I have my coffee, I will have bone broth with Shilajit dissolved into it. And then after that, I will have black coffee. My hope is that when I start to add carbs back in, I will start putting milk back into my coffee because I think having a fat source in your coffee is really, it just kind of takes away the bitterness and it makes it a little bit easier on the gut as well. But during this carnivore period, I'm not doing that because I'm literally just going no carb. I'm trying to just kind of hit ketosis here for a couple days. But then once I do start to add carbs back in, I think milk will be a part of that or cream will be a part of that. It's just a matter of right now, just kind of like the nature of what I'm doing. But that will also be in there as well. As far as my post-workout meals, those are going to be higher carb. The pre-workout meals will be higher carb, just lower calorie. And then usually like my last meal of the day, it really depends on training time. So if I plan on, so the plan right now is to, and again, like I alluded to this earlier in the video, I need to figure out when I'm going to throw and when I'm going to lift. Because right now it's not conducive to me, and I guess I could do it, but like it's not conducive for me to throw in the afternoon and then go straight into a lift, because then I look at the clock and it's like 5-6 o'clock and I've got work responsibilities that I got to take care of. So I think I'm going to have to switch my schedule around. So I'm throwing, and just training overall between, 10 a.m. and 2, like middle of the day. And so I can do some work before, I can do some work afterwards. Because right now it's just kind of all over the place. And so I think that 10 to 2 gap is really going to be kind of the sweet spot for everything. That'll give me the opportunity to throw and then go straight into a lift, and not have to break things up. Because like the other day when I did the 91, which you'll see, that was at like 7:30 in the morning with no caffeine or anything. So my body was like just not ready for it, not prepared for that time to train. Anyway, but we'll get into that in a second. So macro goals: 200 grams of protein. I like protein a lot. I like carbs, 180 grams of carbs, a little bit lower. Trying to stay in that deficit. Some days higher, some days lower. This is just kind of like the goal, like the set goal. And then 65 grams of fats, because you need fats. On carnivore, it's a lot higher, just as far as like energy is concerned. Increasing the fat intake just to make sure I'm getting enough calories so I don't just like fall over and die. Also for hormonal profile, you need that. You need fat in order to make sure that you can function and you have good hormonal processes running. Extra stuff: no nicotine, no alcohol, no dog in bed. I have noticed a big difference since I stopped letting my dog sleep in the bed, as far as sleep quality and latency and everything. He takes up a ton of space. I love him to death. I like to cuddle with him, but he does, he has a lot of space in the bed and he chooses not to use it. He chooses just to like lay on top of me, which is not great for quality sleep. Obviously, no nicotine, no alcohol is self-explanatory. 6+ hours a night of sleep standard. I'm trying to get into bed by 11 o'clock. The ideal times between 9:30 and 10. I'm trying to wake up with the sun every single day. I'm trying to take hella walks, as many walks as I can. Lots of high intent throwing, more than usual. So like 2 to 3 days of high intent throwing, maybe even one of those moderate days turns into like a higher intent day, like 80%, 90%. Really depends on how I'm feeling. And then Saturday and Sunday, I might have like a refeed day, one of those 2 days, depending on what's the next day. So if I have a high intent day on a Sunday, I might use that Saturday to refeed. If I have a high intent day Monday, if like I don't play a game on that Sunday, I might use Sunday as a refeed day. Just make sure like I'm front end loading the calories so the next day I'm fueled for whatever the training session is. And then I put fun in there because I want to have fun with this. I want to enjoy it. I want this to be a cool thing. I've never really like locked down completely into training besides like 1 month back in 2021 where I was like, all right, I'm going all in on this. I'm going to train my tail off. I'm not going to be distracted by anything. And my whole focus is just on training. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. As far as the layout, I'm sure I'm going to adjust some things and make some modifications. And if I do, I'll make sure that I update you guys on this, but that's kind of what it looks like. And again, I wish I could have done a whiteboard session on this, but lighting sucks in here. And we've got a freaking truck that's dumping gravel on the ground and it's loud. So I had to use the mic. But yeah, that's that. You should hear the sound effects at this place. There's freaking frogs everywhere. I think what we're going to do for this initial throwing is throw into this net and then we'll extend this way. But long toss and pull downs, gonna warm up just by throwing. Keeping it simple, keeping the time constraint there. And just getting back to the old school way of doing things with the phone. With the phone, because I don't want the camera to overheat, even though it's like 70 degrees out. So we'll take you along for it. We're gonna start with our knees, per usual. Interesting note. You don't need to finish with your arm. The recoil is a natural decel pattern. So when I like flick it, my arm rebounds back, it's just a decel pattern. Hardest I've ever gotten with 10 toes is like 73. Not furthest, that's velocity. All right, that's long toss. Couple more. Couple more. Start by going out of the delivery, and then we'll add in some other stuff. Turn and burns probably. Four hopper. Two hopper.
.94 miles per hour. .93 miles per hour. .94 miles per hour.
Okay, no mic.
No, Mike, just some first initial thoughts. For a day where I just kind of got out here and started throwing, no warm up, nothing cold, and was able to see what the number was, I'm pretty happy with that. You know, no, fuck that. I'm not happy with that. Like, that number needs to be higher. And so, like, any kind of satisfaction at this point is not good, because it means complacency is there to follow. So now we're gonna get an upper body lift in. We're gonna fucking run this shit. And so now that we kind of have that baseline, I know we hit 96 nat last week, so you can consider it a down week if you want. It's been 5 days, 6 days since then. So this is a down week. As you will see when I highlight the board here in the following, maybe a meal first, we'll see. But the board here following, it's gonna outline the entire plan. So we're not gonna get back on the mound until pull downs are at least 98 plus. So we're 4 miles an hour away, and we're gonna get there. All right, so it is Thursday, May 9th. Whoa. Thursday, May 9th, about 7:30 a.m. Couple problems that I realized as soon as I got here. So I wanted to make this sort of like a day where I just got up and got to work. Wasn't worried about, you know, timing or, you know, having to be hot or what time my lift was or anything like that. I just wanted to like get up and be like, all right, what can I get out of my body today? No food, no caffeine, nothing, just water, and just kind of like wake up, stretch, do a dynamic warm up, and then get going. The field is soaked, like with dew. There's just water everywhere, so the baseballs are probably going to get soaked. That's really the only problem. So we're gonna set aside a few to rip at the end with. But other than that, I mean, should be a decent day. The plan is what we're gonna do. We are going to just bear crawl until we're sweating. That's gonna be the warm up. It's probably not going to be conducive to keeping my hands dry, but screw it. I'm gonna talk scheduling a little bit after this, but that's gonna be the plan to start us up. So I'll film myself bear crawling a little bit, and then we'll get into some throwing. No mic for this one. Also, a little added juice today.
So hopefully you can hear me. A few things I wanted to point out. Number one, yes, it's a fighting. Needed the juice. Had to pull out all the stops. Number two, the catcher's mitt. I noticed that with the catcher's mitt, I was able to use the glove side a little bit more just because of the weight of it. So we're going to try that today and see how it works. Now, what we're going to do is get into some like full-bodied long toss here, just like with a couple steps. And the other thing I really want to start working on is direction. So I think I might make these like some roll-ins, because I noticed that I'm swinging the gate pretty aggressively. So if I just go here, yeah, still kind of pulling off a little bit. See how we can leverage that. Step to the right. Step to the right. Maybe that's the cue. Howdy. I might go over. Step right, aim left, and let it come back. That one was good. We might need to test those. We'll see. Yeah, I think that ball is heavy. This is the Eli ball. Good luck. Good luck, Eli. I love you. Turn and burns. Starting this away, throwing this away to try and clean up the direction a little bit. Take a little breather. Let's go rip into the net.
$89 miles per hour. $91 miles per hour.
Immediate thoughts. You know how everyone says raise the ceiling? You know, like raise what you're capable of? Nah. You gotta raise the floor. I remember, just to put this into perspective, you know, a year, 2 years ago, a bad day of Pulldowns would be like 88. Today, a bad day of Pulldowns is 91. And we're coming off of 2 days rest. So we had, well, let me think about this for a second. Today's Thursday. Monday we pulled down, got up to 94. Took Tuesday off. Yesterday played wall ball. Today we're pulling down again. We're going to go on this same rotating 3-day schedule. The only caveat is that I think what we're going to have to do, because Sunday I'm supposed to pitch, is go light on Saturday or no throw. Sunday's going to be a heavy volume day, so no pull downs. Maybe a few at the beginning. We'll see. And then Monday off, Tuesday light, Wednesday hard, Thursday off, Friday light. It'll just kind of be like that Sunday, Wednesday schedule. It's going to be tough to get like 2 max intent, like pull down days, grazing that floor, you know? And so I think the next day that we do like max effort pull downs, the goal is to get to 95, maybe 96. Might need to take like an extra day off here or there, but that's how we'll do it. And we'll get back and then we'll talk about the plan, talk about some outlines and everything, and go from there. Immediate thoughts after the immediate thoughts. I am not very good at maintaining consistent training times. This is something I talked about with Dean Turner on that podcast, which you should go listen to if you haven't already. If you train at the same time every day, your body is going to be prepared to start producing testosterone and cortisol and all the hormonal things that you need to perform. But for myself, I need to be better at scheduling so I can actually like, my body knows like, okay, this is when it's time to throw. This is when it's time to lift. This is whenever. Today I literally woke up, stretched, no coffee, no caffeine, no nothing, and came out here to throw. I did like a dynamic warm up and stuff and felt good. It was just like, damn, there's no juice. Nothing coming out. So I think moving forward, we're probably going to need to establish like a time to throw. I do really like throwing first thing in the morning. I'm a big fan of it. The baseballs didn't get super wet, which was great. However, I will say I do like throwing when I'm shirtless under the sun when it's hot. So might need to consider that as well. I'm gonna have to really do some thinking about it, but yeah, that's you know, for early morning, weird training time, no caffeine. These are not excuses. These are just like points, performance, KPIs. Not too upset about it. Is what it is. But this was the other thing I wanted to note. The whole like thing behind this as well is not just to throw 95 at a low body weight. It's also to just like be so efficient that it doesn't matter if it's 3 a.m., 10 a.m., 6 p.m., 10 p.m., whatever. Like just being able to throw hard at whatever given time it is. Like, cause I've never been a guy that could like just roll out of bed and start throwing hard, And I think being that guy would be pretty cool. And maybe I won't be that guy, but the pursuit is the fun part. So there you go. Why does my arm look so small? Is that the angle? I can curl 50s. What the fuck? All right, I'm gonna turn down the music here a little bit, just so you can hear me. There we go. Good, good, good. Bring my phone over here so I can record a few things for immediate feedback. So we got the seated throws. The other 2 variations I wanted to try today are gonna be, I guess you could call them like a zombie variation, like this, but basically the whole goal is going there and keeping the glove side pushed away. And notice again, like no velos on these. I'm keeping it super light, nothing crazy, barely any lower half. We're gonna do 1 lower half variation, but that's it. But I was thinking about this last night, it was keeping me up. Like for guys that struggle to engage the glove side or keep the glove side too tucked or just like lose that engagement early like I do with the shorter arm action, how can we get them to understand that? So I was like, all right, well, if we get this here and this here, they can work in opposition as you kind of like work back. So if I'm here, boom, then you can get the arm to work
its natural path. So with that, all I'm thinking about is pulling the ball to the ear, but trying to, and nothing with the glove arm really. I'm just trying to get it away from my body, because when I have like my normal arm action, if I'm here, boom, you can see all I want to do is just pull it right in. And so I think what we can try and do is just really get myself, like maybe if we start here, boom, here, maybe that's where the glove side comes in. So you can regress it a lot of different ways to try and get the arm and the glove to work in synchronicity. I don't know. But either way, you're trying to get them to work kind of in opposition, which is tough because like they want to work together. So if we can just be here, boom. I think what that'll do too is help clean up direction, because I also have a tendency to fly open. And so with this, if the glove side's here and it's holding me closed, then I can be more on line with my target. And then if you were gonna add like a full kind of thing in here, come set right here. So you need to work on it a little bit, because like, again, if I cue the glove side, the arm gets stabby again. If I just think of the arm, glove side wants to pull in really, really aggressively. We'll workshop it, but I like it. All right, so this next one, it's gonna be called the Soldier Boy. That's actually what it's called. Like somebody invented it and they called it the Soldier Boy. I believe it was Randy Sullivan at the ranch, or the armory rather. I've seen Praise Thorson do it, but basically it's that same idea with like the whole zombie throw, but you're adding in a forward element hopping off the back leg to increase more of the linear component and to reinforce staying back, not getting too far forward. So essentially you're here, boom. And the arm got stabby, so we're not gonna do that. Pull it straight back, man. Boom. Yeah. So, I like that. Big fan. We'll do one more. That'll put us at 65, and then we'll call it. Finito. So we're gonna take a look at those, see what we think. I liked the zombie throws a lot. It's about 7 a.m. I don't know if you can see that, hopefully you can. But now we're gonna go get some cardio in, probably about 20 minutes or so, nothing crazy. Mobility, go back, make a banging chicken and egg skillet. And then once we have that, we'll kind of wrap up the day, talk through goals for the next week. All right, so this is the end of week 2, or week 2, week 3, whatever week it is. But since I said we're gonna start doing these in weekly series, I figured that it'd be a good idea to kind of talk through, you know, the end of last week and just kind of like provide some closure for that. So big thing with last week, or this past week rather, was, you know, finding consistent training times, which I'm already breaking the rules here. You know, it's 6:30 and I'm here. But especially for velo days, what we're gonna do is I basically blocked a schedule, or like block days during the week at least, to where I'm going to dedicate 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. to training. That means that we're gonna throw and lift back to back on those days. It just gives us that consistent training time, allows for us to get outside if we want to, allows for us to get in the sun, allows for us to wake up a little bit, take care of any miscellaneous tasks in the morning, and then in the afternoon we can, you know, do everything else. But that is going to be the set time. I think it's going to allow for us to find that consistency. And additionally, we have a big day on Monday because
that's going to be the next velo day. But, you know, feeling pretty good. You know, at the end of, at the end of this week, I was 188. As I will mention in the next video, we're starting this week at 187, coming off of a cycle of carnivore for 2.5 days-ish. So yeah, feeling good though. Feeling good and excited for the next week, which you will, when you watch the next video, we'll also start right here wearing this exact same outfit at this exact same time. So we're going right from last week into the next week. See you then.